Hi, this is Daryl Myatt from Keller, Texas. Today is Friday, July 1st, 2011. I hope you guys don't have to work today. I hope you have a 4-day weekend. You're doing something fun this weekend with family and loved ones. Anyway, I want to start off today by talking about the Muslim Brotherhood. We've heard a lot about them recently, and unfortunately a lot of people don't know who they are, what they stand for, or what they do. So I want to spend a little time shedding a little light on the subject. And in case you're new to my videos, I just want you to understand that I don't pull any punches. I'm not politically correct. I'm not afraid to speak truth, even though the world wants to shut the truth out of most everything you hear these days. So, with that in mind, let's get right to it. So, who is the Muslim Brotherhood? Well, they're trying to portray themselves as moderate and democratic, but at its core it's anything but. The Brotherhood is really a wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay? Let me first talk about the Muslim Brotherhood's logo and its motto. Here's the motto of the Muslim Brotherhood. Allah is our objective. The Prophet is our leader. The Quran is our law. Jihad is our way. Dying in the way of Allah is our highest hope. Allahu Akbar. That's their motto. Jihad is our way. That's fighting, holy war, killing those who disagree with them, who don't believe as they do. Okay. And yet, oddly enough, this group has garnished the label the peaceful religion. Okay. The Brotherhood's goal is to turn the world into an Islamic empire. The Muslim Brotherhood, founded in Egypt in 1928, is a revolutionary fundamentalist movement to restore the caliphate and strict Sharia Islamist law in Muslims' land and ultimately the entire world. Global domination is their goal. Today it has chapters in 80 countries. It is in the nature of Islam to dominate, not to be dominated, to impose its law on all nations, and to extend its power to the entire planet, said Muslim Brotherhood founder Hassan al-Banna. Came straight from his mouth. To extend its power to the entire planet. The Brotherhood wants America to fall. It tells followers to be patient because America is heading toward its demise. And I think they might be right. Look at America and where we're heading. Straight to the pits of hell with our increase in gay marriage, abortion, murder, falling away, apostasy, trying to take God out of everything. The U.S. is an infidel that does not champion moral and human values and cannot lead humanity, says the Muslim Brotherhood's supreme guide, Muhammad Badi, said that September of last year. The Brotherhood claims Western democracy is corrupt, unrealistic, and false, says the former Muslim Brotherhood supreme guide, Muhammad Mahdi Akef. The Brotherhood calls for jihad against Muslims' real enemies, not only Israel, but also the United States. Waging jihad against both of these infidels is a commandment of Allah that cannot be disregarded, Muslim Brotherhood Supreme Guide Muhammad Badi said, September 2010. The Brotherhood assassinated Anwar Sadat in 1981 for making peace with the hated Zionist entity, of course referring to Israel. It also assassinated Egypt's Prime Minister in 1948 and attempted to assassinate President Nasser in 1954. Hamas is a wing of the Muslim Brotherhood. According to the Hamas Charter, Chapter 2, the Charter calls for the murder of Jews, the obliteration of Israel, and its replacement with an Islamist theocracy. These are the people the world is trying to force Israel to make peace with. Let me just say, there will be no peace until Jesus returns. The Brotherhood supports Hezbollah's war against the Jews. Brotherhood leader Mahdi Akef declared he was prepared to send 10,000 jihad fighters immediately to fight at the side of Hezbollah during Hezbollah's war against Israel in 2006. The Brotherhood glorified Osama bin Laden and mourned his death. Osama is, in all certainty, a mujahid, heroic fighter, and I have no doubt in his sincerity in resisting the occupation close to Allah on high, said former Muslim Brotherhood Supreme Guide Muhammad Mahdi Akef, November 2007. The Brotherhood sanctioned martyrdom operations in Palestine. They do not have bombs, so they turn themselves into bombs. This is a necessity, said Muslim Brotherhood spiritual leader Yusuf al-Qaradawi, December 17, 2010. The Brotherhood advocates violent jihad. The change that the Muslim nation seeks can only be obtained through jihad and sacrifice, and by raising a jihadi generation that pursues death just as the enemy pursues life, said Muslim Brotherhood Supreme Guide Muhammad Mahdi in September 2010 sermon. 11 major terrorists came out of the Muslim Brotherhood, including bin Laden's deputy Ayman al-Zawahiri and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, mastermind of the 9/11 attacks. Peaceful religion? Guess again. Let's see. The Brotherhood advocates a deceptive strategy in democracies. It appears moderate and uses existing institutions to gain power. The civilizational jihadist process is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house so that it is eliminated. And God's religion is made victorious over all other religions, reads a U.S. Muslim Brotherhood 1991 document. It believes it can conquer Europe peacefully. After having been expelled twice, Islam will be victorious and reconquer Europe. I am certain that this time victory will be won not by the sword but by preaching an Islamic ideology, said Muslim Brotherhood spiritual leader Yusuf al-Qaradawi. Ah, boy. You know, let me just ask, what do you think the world would think if we had a Christian Brotherhood? Would we be deemed as racists and bigots, and then I'm sure they'd call us all kinds of other names. Yet the Muslims can have their brotherhood. Interesting times we're living in. You know what? I'm sorry, I have to kind of grin a little bit because I know what's going to happen to these enemies of God, because this clearly tells me God laughs at those who oppose him. He laughs at his enemies because he knows their end. And I can't help but get a smile on my face when I imagine God kind of chuckling at these people who are trying to do away with God's true followers, those who follow his Son Jesus Christ and are thankful and accepting of the sacrifice he made for us, that we can overcome this world and overcome sin, death, and hell. Okay, let's see. The Brotherhood's view of women's rights is to subjugate and segregate women. The ideal society would include a campaign against ostentation in dress and loose behavior, segregation of male and female students, private meetings between men and women unless with the permitted degrees of relationship to be counted as a crime for which both will be censured, prohibition of dancing and other pastimes. Muslim Brotherhood founder Hassan al-Banna said these are the 5 tracks. The Brotherhood supports female genital mutilation. I'm not going to get into that. They even wage war against female circumcision, a practice current in 36 countries. The Brotherhood will not treat non-Muslim minorities such as Coptic Christians as equals. Allah's word will reign supreme and the infidel's word will be inferior, says Muslim Brotherhood Supreme Guide Muhammad Mahdi last year. He said this. The Brotherhood refuses to commit to continuing the Israel-Egypt peace treaty. Muslim Brotherhood leaders have said that as far as the movement is concerned, Israel is a Zionist entity occupying holy Arab and Islamic lands, and we will get rid of it no matter how long it takes. Former Muslim Brotherhood Supreme Guide Muhammad Mahdi Akef. They'll get rid of it no matter how long it takes. Is anyone listening to this? Do you hear what they say? Yet there's no red flags going up. There's no human rights violations imposed on these people. They want to wipe Israel out. They don't want peace. Open your eyes and see what's really happening. These are the times Jesus spoke of. These are the times Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Zechariah, Joel, Micah, and other prophets of the Bible. These are the times these people spoke of. These are the times John spoke of in Revelation. The Brotherhood has anti-Semitic roots. It supported the Nazis, organized mass demonstrations against the Jews with slogans promoting ethnic cleansing like "Down with the Jews" and "Jews get out of Egypt" and Palestine in 1936. They carried out a violent pogrom against Egypt's Jews in November 1945 and made sure that Nazi collaborator and Palestinian Mufti al-Husseini was granted asylum in Egypt in 1946. The Brotherhood remains virulently anti-Semitic. Today the Jews are not the Israelites praised by Allah, but the descendants of the Israelites who defied His word. This man, Muslim Brotherhood spiritual leader Yusuf al-Qaradawi, said Allah was angry with them and turned them into monkeys and pigs. There is no doubt that the battle in which the Muslims overcome the Jews will come. In that battle the Muslims will fight the Jews and kill them, says Yusuf al-Qaradawi. So, let me ask you, what do you think of the Muslim Brotherhood? You think they're peaceful? You think they want to make peace with Israel? Think again. Do a little research. U.S. welcomes dialogue with the Muslim Brotherhood. Makes me feel very comfortable. How about you? U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said that the Obama administration wants to open a dialogue with the Islamist Muslim Brotherhood. We believe, said Hillary Clinton, given the changing political landscape in Egypt, that it is in the interests of the United States to engage with all parties that are peaceful and committed to nonviolence, that intend to compete for the parliament and the presidency. Okay, then why are you talking to the Muslim Brotherhood? You know, they talk about taking something down from within. And here we have a Muslim president surrounding himself with 39 Muslim czars. This is America, people. What's happening to our great country? Let's move on. Here's something out of Israel Today. Gazans, people in Gaza, admit that aid flotillas are unnecessary. Israel has maintained that the international aid flotillas that keep trying to break the Israeli maritime blockade and reach the Hamas-ruled Gaza Strip are unnecessary, since no one is starving in the narrow coastal strip. Today, local Gazans are saying the very same thing. In a series of conversations with Gaza businessmen, Israel's Ynet news portal revealed that the Palestinians living there are unimpressed with the latest aid flotilla, the first ship of which set sail from Greece today. The flotilla isn't bringing things that can reach the man on the street, said one Gazan, hinting at the fact that not only does Gaza have plenty of supplies thanks to daily transfers via the Gaza-Israel border crossings, but also that much of what does come in is seized by Hamas and resold at exorbitant prices. There is no humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The only thing keeping any aid coming to the people of Gaza is Hamas, who is in charge there. The Gazans said that their main problem is not being able to export most of their goods thanks to the embargoes at both the Israel-Gaza border and the Egypt-Gaza border that are the result of a decade of arms smuggling. Let's see. A lot of these ships that were going to be in this flotilla had been mysteriously disabled in port. Israel spies sabotaging them, perhaps? Probably. As well they should. The Audacity of Hope. This is the name of a ship. Ironic that that was also the name of Obama's campaign, wasn't it? Curious. The Audacity of Hope is carrying several dozen Americans supportive of the Palestinian cause and opposed to Israel's security measure against Gaza. The organizers of that particular ship admitted last month that their only goal was to confront the Israeli blockade, and they didn't even bother to pack any humanitarian aid on the vessel. So their real aim is provocating Israel into a fight, provoking them. Let's see. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last week ordered the Israel military to do whatever it takes to stop these flotillas from reaching Gaza, but they also take every measure to avoid casualties on either side. Now, by the time this went to press, this story has changed. The Greek Coast Guard halted the Audacity of Hope shortly after it left port and ordered the ship to return. The American vessel and others in the flotilla had been forbidden by Greece from disembarking until further notice. The bulk of the international community is against the sailing of these ships. We'll see what happens. Here's something out of... What's this out of? Palestinian Authority Commentary Magazine. Palestinian Authority proudly indoctrinates its youth against peace. It says, if you want to know the real obstacle to Israeli-Palestinian peace, take a look at what Israel's peace partner is doing in the Balata refugee camp near Nablus. Tassir Nasrallah, a senior member of Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas's Fatah Party, who is currently Director General of the Nablus Governor's Office, gave Haaretz reporter Avi Issaroff a tour of the 7-year-old community center this week. He says, we give the kids courses on the right of return and teach them that the Israelis stole their lands. We've sent hundreds of camp children into Israel to see the villages and towns that were taken from us. They teach them the right of return, taking the land, killing in the name of Allah, and that Jewish and Israeli people are pigs and monkeys. This is the peace partner the world is trying to make Israel have peace with. Oh boy, it's just sad seeing some of this. Let's see. Here's a report out of Ynet News. Says U.S. proposes Syrian roadmap. Syrian opposition members claim today that Washington is planning to carry out a plan to end the violent riots in their country while keeping Syrian President Bashar Assad in power. You know, I can't help but keep an eye on Damascus because we're seeing so many things going on in that country that Isaiah 17:1 seems to be about to happen any day now. Keep an eye on it. Here's just something that points to where we are in biblical time. This out of End of the American Dream. Says another step closer to a one world religion. You know, last Sunday 170 U.S. churches read from the Quran on Sunday. The three main pillars of the New World Order that the global elite want to bring about are a one world economy, a one world government, and a one world religion. We're seeing all three of these things coming about as we speak. One world economy, basically a one world currency, global currency, one world government, and a one world religion. You know, I've heard of these things before. Oh yeah, right here, right here. It's coming, people. You know, this story is almost worthy of an entire video right here. But I'm not going to read this whole thing. This whole interfaith movement and churches reading from the Quran. Just, you know, I did a story last week on this Chrislam movement. A lot of people think Islam might even be the one world religion, which I tend to think it's going to be more like a Catholic type religion with Islam mixed in. And please, if you're Catholic, don't come hating on me just because I'm saying something like that, okay? Understand that there will be corruption in the church. Jesus spoke of this many times in parables that he told us about. Here's Rick Warren, a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, who's one of the leaders of this whole Chrislam movement. And let me just say, if anyone comes to you preaching any other gospel than one of Jesus Christ, may they be eternally condemned. Okay, Paul said this not once but twice. And if someone comes in and tells you, oh, you know, it's a little of this, a little of that, that's another gospel. or a false gospel, or no gospel at all, because gospel means good news, and only Jesus Christ is the good news. Anything else is not a gospel, but a lie. Oh, I have to revert to my favorite verse in the Bible, John 14:6, when Jesus said this, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. There's only one way to God the Father. That's through Jesus Christ the Son. Islam denies Jesus as the Son of God, denies he died on the cross. There's no way these religions can mix. When we go to a one-world government, I just want to urge all Christians, stand strong in your faith, stand strong on the Word of God, stand strong in Jesus Christ. Don't let any man deceive you. Don't let any government turn you from what you know to be truth. If we have to stand and fight, we'll stand and fight. Here's a story out of One News Now. It says a terror threat. U.S. churches are in danger. With the recent airing of an al-Qaeda video that encourages Muslims to attack religious institutions, Christian churches are being warned. Oh, I thought these were the peaceful religion people. But they're attacking churches. Yeah, that's peaceful. I can see how they get that name. In a video released by al-Qaeda spokesman Adam Gaddan, the American-born Muslim asked jihadists to quickly obtain guns and carry out terror attacks against the West. He states that Muslims are placed in the religion to do major damage to the enemies of Islam, waging war on their religion, sacred places and things and brethren. Be alert, okay? Be alert. This is no longer the world we used to live in. This is not the world your mom and dad grew up in. This is a whole new ball game, people. Christians are being targeted by the world, by our own U.S. administration, and by enemies of God. So what do you do when Satan attacks? Let me go to 1 Peter 5, verses 8 and 9. Be careful, watch out for the attacks from the devil, your great enemy. He prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for some victim to devour. This is from the New Living Translation. Take a firm stand against him and be strong in your faith. Remember that your Christian brothers and sisters all over the world are going through the same kind of suffering you are. James 4, 7 and 8. So humble yourselves before God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw close to God, and God will draw close to you. You know, I love you guys. I hope you have an awesome weekend. I hope you enjoy your holiday as we celebrate Independence Day 2011. But I have to say I'm a little saddened and alarmed by the increasing number of Americans who are so anti-God, anti-Christian, and anti-Constitution. Even Time magazine this week questions whether the U.S. Constitution even matters anymore. And I'm also getting concerned about the times we're living in, because I don't see enough dedicated and bold Christians left in America to stand up and fight for these unprecedented freedoms that have been handed down to us by our God-fearing forefathers. Why are there so few defenders willing to proclaim what is right with our nation and our heritage? Now, understand, no man is perfect, no state is perfect, no country is perfect, but what other nation has provided more freedom for more people all over the world than the United States of America? What other nation has provided so much opportunity for its citizens to pursue their dreams? What other nation is always the first to rush to the aid of other countries and other people in their times of need and global catastrophes? The answer is none. I firmly believe that if we don't wake up and begin to take our responsibilities as citizens seriously, then we may soon have few liberties left with which to be thankful for. It saddens me to see the state of affairs in this once great country. This is America, land of the free, home of the brave. Pretty soon we're not going to be as free anymore, and I don't see many brave people anymore. I think one of the greatest roadblocks to the formation of this one world government is the United States, the American institution that has guaranteed the restraint is our Constitution that this current president seems to want to sweep under the rug, starting with the fact that he's not even eligible to be our president. Yes, I think it's a lie he says he was born in Hawaii. I don't believe it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not racist. I don't care what color his skin is. I don't care if he's half green, half yellow, half red, whatever. I don't care. I'm not a racist. I don't look at a man's skin color. I look at a man's heart. I look at a man's actions. I look at a man's integrity and his faith. I don't think he was born here, and I think the whole world will find that out eventually. I can't help but see America declining in global significance, though, and that our Constitution, our rights, and our freedoms are being curtailed by our enemies, both foreign and domestic. I got to get into the Word of God. Okay, I want to read some verses from the Holy Bible. Let's go to Psalm 119, verse 45. Today I'm reading out of the NIV, and please don't be hating on me. I scoured the King James, the NLT, the American Standard, the New King James. I looked at all these verses in various books, and the best version of these verses all came out of the NIV. So I know a lot of you King James only people are going to be hating on me. Psalm 119, verse 45. I will walk about in freedom, for I have sought out your precepts. Isaiah 61:1. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release from darkness for the prisoners. Of course, Jesus read this when he was handed the scroll in the temple. And in Luke 4:18-19, Jesus said, the Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to release the oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. 2 Corinthians 3:17. Now the Lord is Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Sorry guys, I get a little emotional when I read the Word of God, when it pertains to things that we're going through and things that really matter. Galatians 2, verse 4 and 5. This matter arose because some false brothers had infiltrated our ranks to spy on the freedom we have in Christ Jesus and to make us slaves. We did not give in to them for a moment, so that the truth of the gospel might remain with you. Galatians 5, verse 1. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then. Do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Galatians 5:13. You, my brothers, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the sinful nature. Rather, serve one another in love. 1 Peter 2, verse 15-17. For it is God's will that by doing good you should silence the ignorant talk of foolish men. Live as free men, but do not use your freedom as a cover-up for evil. Live as servants of God. Show proper respect to everyone. Love the brotherhood of believers. Fear God. Honor the King. Brotherhood of believers. There is a brotherhood of believers, and we will overcome those. 2 Peter 2:18. For they mouth empty, boastful words, and by appealing to the lustful desires of sinful human nature, they entice people who are just escaping from those who live in error. 2 Peter 2:19. They promise them freedom while they themselves are slaves of depravity. For a man is a slave to whatever has mastered him. Depravity. I believe the Bible speaks of a depraved mind giving in to their lusts and perverted desires. I want to finish today with one of my favorite verses, 2 Chronicles 7 verse 14. This is what our country needs to read right now. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. I don't think I'll be back until Tuesday next week, so good Lord willing, I'll see you then. Take care.